in the fires of hope and prayer, with boundless faith in our destiny, we solemnly declare, side by side we stand, islands of the blue Caribbean Sea, this our native land, we pledge our lives to thee. Here every creed and race find an equal place, and may God bless our nation. Here every creed and race find an equal place, and may God bless our nation.
Heavenly Father, we come before you at the start of this new day, giving thanks for life, for health, and the opportunity to serve through this station. We ask for your divine presence to guide us in all we do. Bless this broadcast, that it may be a source of inspiration, joy, and unity to all who tune in. Whether near or far, may our words uplift, our music heal, and our message bring light to those who need it most. We pray for our listeners, wherever they may be. Grant them strength for the day ahead, peace in their hearts, and success in all they put their hands to. Cover those traveling with your protection, and those at home with your comfort and provision. Lord, may everything we do bring honor to you and be a blessing to others. Guide our steps, bless our efforts, and let this station be a vessel of positivity and hope. In your name we pray. Amen.
Your voice, your soundtrack, your station. New Era TT Radio. Net Radio.
Well, everybody, good morning to you. And of course, that is what we are committed to do, to make sure you start your day right. The morning, Trinidad and Tobago, neighbors in the Caribbean, friends who are streaming all around the globe. As we welcome you all to New Era TT Radio, the heartbeat of the Caribbean, as we take you above and beyond. This good-looking midweek Wednesday. We're glad to be here with you. Sir Charles, that is me. Happy am I to be here in your company on this God-blessed day. Thanking you, dear Father, for bringing us together for another day, and everything that we do, let it be a blessing on to you. Of course, this is your Get Up and Go as we welcome you to the breakfast show.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Wake up, it's a brand new dawn. The breakfast show got the vibes turned on. From Maracas Bay to the Savannah line, let's start the day in Caribbean prime. Oh, good vibes rolling through the air. The breakfast show, energy everywhere. We talk, we laugh, we make you think. Grab your doubles or your morning drink.
Hi, good morning. Come to the breakfast show on Net Radio. Today, of course, is Wednesday and it's a rainy day again. So be mindful of that, people. So weather is terrible. I think the bad weather is kind of 4 p.m. today. So just be mindful of that when you move about travels, roads.
Good morning. There's an echo here, Charles. I don't know if you have something on.
Yeah, we're getting an echo.
Okay, it's now better.
Go on.
All right, so good morning to our listeners and viewers wherever you are, and welcome to the breakfast show this morning. Of course, it was rainy. It's a little less rainy right now, so hopefully that's telling us what the rest of the day is going to be like. I know the yellow alert is still on until 4 p.m. I think.
4 p.m. Yeah.
But
it's been raining off and on all morning.
Yeah. So good morning and welcome to the breakfast show, and of course good morning to you wherever you are on planet Earth, and a special good morning to my co-hosts Wendell and Sir Charles.
Yes, good morning Richard, good morning Sir Charles, and as I said, good morning Trinidad and Tobago, and good morning listeners and viewers. You see I'm trying a little thing there with a new background.
Again?
I've just been experimenting. I don't want anybody get accustomed to seeing me one way. I did a collage of my African soirees. So that's those two pictures are decided are from Ghana. The one in the middle down below is from Senegal, and the one at the top is from Egypt. So that's a little. That's the three continents, the three countries I've visited on the continent of Africa. I intend to add a few more once God gives me life, health, and strength. All right? And of course,
I'm sure that you will.
Of course, a little cash. It doesn't hurt to have a little miles on you to buy a ticket. Trust me. But yeah, we're here in the land of the living. Happy birthday to Terry Walcott, my cousin. He lives abroad. That is Mr. Billy's. Mr. Billy and Terry are. Miss Terry is married to Mr. Billy's sister. That's it. Janora Blackman Paris, Kirkwaite celebrating her birthday today. Ayana Moriah, Carlisle Bab passed away. Roxanne Phillips, they are all celebrating birthdays today, June 11th. All right. So just in case, and if any one of you celebrating a birthday out there today, happy birthday in advance. All right.
Well, I have a birthday greeting today, Wendell, because my daughter, and actually my last daughter and last child, she's celebrating her birthday today. Her name is Celeste Christy Davis.
Celeste.
Yes, and she's sweet 16 today.
Oh, good. Yeah, I didn't look for money to buy canting just now. Yeah, sure. I didn't make a joke that way though. I good child. Among the car you had to buy. Check the deadpan look now. Check the deadpan look again, earlier.
Okay. All right. Cool.
That's the good news. The good news is that you have a deadpan look at your face.
Well, the good news for today is not a video, it's just news that I'm going to read out. For those of you who don't know, despite losing 2-1 to Costa Rica in San Jose, which would have been the match last night, it's a World Cup qualifying match, Trinidad and Tobago will advance to the final stage of the CONCACAF World Cup qualifiers after finishing second in Group B with a superior goal difference over third place Grenada. The Soca Warriors will now travel to the United States for the Gold Cup tournament and will meet the USA on Sunday in their opening game. So that's good news in that we have advanced, Trinidad and Tobago has advanced to the next stage of the World Cup qualifiers, the CONCACAF World Cup qualifiers. And so I thought that would be the good news for today. And so, you know, a big round of applause to the Soca Warriors.
That is why when you beat people, you have to beat them.
Congratulations to the team, right, York and the team. You know, congratulations.
Yeah.
Well done, Soca Warriors. You know, I remember when we qualified in 2000.
Before you go on, Randall, because we like to do things properly.
Okay.
That was all good news for today. You may proceed, Wendell.
I remember when we qualified for the World Cup in 2006. My intention, of course, was to go to Germany, because at the time, Coven, who I visit in London, he was based in Germany. He was part of the British Army and was serving in Germany at the time. And he said, "Come." I said, "Well," because he said, "You don't look for anywhere to stay. You just had to buy a ticket and come." I said, "Well, I'm coming." And it so happens that some world disease had come up. You remember? I think, was it SARS or something? Something had started to spread at that point in time, and it was kind of touch and go whether you should travel or not. I can't remember if it's SARS. I think it's SARS. And I decided, you know something, I'm not taking any chance, and I'm not going. And actually, 2006 was the year that I got married to. You understand? So I was really looking forward to going to Germany that year, because that would have been our honeymoon, for want of a better word. And I didn't go, and quite a few of my friends went. You know, they ended up going. I think the whatever it is had dissipated by the time the actual World Cup came around. And here I didn't go. I eventually passed through Germany, but you know, a lot of people sent back some wonderful images of that World Cup and how Trinidad and Tobago, how they enjoyed it. The Trinidad and Tobago contingent had a whale of a time in Germany that time. You know, I'll always remember that.
Well, World Cup next year is much closer. You know, I don't go as far. You know, between the United States, Mexico, and Canada. So I suppose even more Trinidadians and Tobagonians will be in attendance, especially if Trinidad and Tobago makes it and gets into the. Is it 4 finalists from CONCACAF?
I think it's 6 now. I think it's gone up to 6.
Okay.
I stand corrected. Of course, we have some football buffs who listen, and people who just follow all manner of sport like David Bears and Jaron Joseph. I'm sure they listen. I think it's 6 spots the CONCACAF has now. And remember, the World Cup is actually being played in the CONCACAF region. USA, Canada, and Mexico are in fact CONCACAF nations. So I think that's why, and they automatically qualify because they're hosting.
That's 3 of the 6 already.
Yes, so that's 3 of, well, it used to be 4, but I think it has gone to 6 because of that anomaly. You know, CONCACAF now has 6 nations. You know, so, but I'm sure somebody will tell us, somebody more in the know than me, because I follow football, but just I'm not a fanatic. I watched West Indies get blown out again yesterday. So I've relegated myself to watching cricket now and just hoping West Indies score some runs. And because the West Indies have a whole set of whoopers there. The only proper batsman West Indies have right now is Shai Hope. That's the only proper batsman West Indies has in their lineup. Everybody else is a whooper. You understand? Rockman Powell may not be as much of a whooper as the others, but everybody else is a whooper. Evan Lewis is a whooper. Johnson Charles is a whooper. Sherwin Rutherford is a whooper. Romario Shepherd is a whooper. Plenty whoopers we have. You understand? Close your eye and pelt your bat. Hope for the best.
Oh, that's the definition of whooper.
Yeah, that's the definition of a whooper. Close your eye, pelt your bat, and hope for the best. It either go for 6, for 4, or you're out. And most times with West Indies, they're out in. You understand? So.
All right, well, I think it's about that time for we'll have to do the different newspapers this morning, but collectively. But for the greeting of people on the chat, you could probably do that about now. We just get up there. Hold on a second. Here we go. Yeah.
Margaret Thomas came in first at 12:39. Susan Jessup at 2:33. That means Melissa from Charfleur, Erica Charles from Mova, Marlon Motley from North Valsayn, or Valsayn North, as he says. Ingrid from Tucson, Arizona. Doreen
Morning, Ingrid.
North Carolina. What did you say?
Nothing. I was just saying good morning to people.
Robert Taylor from Fernandina Beach. Marcia Rock from Orlando, Florida. CJ from New York.
Morning, CJ.
Patricia Defoe. Carl Guevara from Chaguanas. Wendy-Ann James from Aranguez. Donna Ramlo-Chan from somewhere in TNT, I think. Frank Clark from a cloudy Barbados. Frank Clark, I hope you hear my story about Barbados the other day. Cheryl Seeley, where is she from? She didn't say. Rena Jennings from Pity Valley. Wayne Ramsey from Fort Lauderdale. Stellar Services. Slick Money Grip. I think he's from New York. Well, he's Port of Spain, he says. Joyce Phillip. Odell Guy. Miguel Gonzalez. Lambert Bruce. Kathy Ann Charles from Cascade. Is Cascade or Syntax? Someone there. Ambrose Brown from New York. Yes, it's Cascade. Did you say something, Richard?
I did not say anything at all, Wendell. I was very quiet.
My humble apologies. Lennox Francois from Baltimore. Gavin Frank from Powder Magazine. Felix Kazoo, Rain in Maloney, so we know where he's from. Rena Jennings says happy hump day. Ilarizan is Nazirili. What is that? Nazirili? Okay, so it's still a crazy name. It's still a confusing name, Ilarizan. Diane Pear, Richard Jemmett from he and his mom, Josephine.
Good morning, Ma Josephine.
Donna Ramlo-Chan says, Sir Charles, you ain't easy. I don't know what I mean. Wendell, today is my husband's birthday. That's Arthur Payne is his name. And that's coming from your darling wife, Diane Payne. Happy birthday, Arthur
Happy
Payne.
birthday, Arthur Payne. Happy birthday. Have a great day today.
All right. Have a great day, Arthur. It was SARS. Thanks, Joyce Phillip. I remember that. Julia Batiste says, good morning, Rajiv Ramla. Lennox Francois said, where's the match being played in the USA? I'm not sure where the match is, I guess. Robert Harper, only 3 available at the moment as we are hosting it. Oh, three more. Is that what you're saying? So Wayne Ramsey said it is 6. All right, I thought so. Christopher Rowley said, you missed out, Wendell. I was based here in Germany with the US Army when Isoko Carreras played in the World Cup. Was fed every day. Yeah, I saw those images. It was one time I missed traveling, was that time, especially with the atmosphere that permeated because of the team making it. Ron DeSantis Jr. says, many Californians, including Trinis, not happy about World Cup in their cities. But have you seen the latest videos of what's happening in LA? They've called for, I think, 4,000 more troops to hit the street. The president said, President Trump, and he has a way of saying things, right? And he's calling on I think it's on the governor to leave, to resign. Diane Hamill says, good morning from Cuba. Ingrid, Mrs. R says, good morning, my breath of fresh air, Wendell. No problem. Thanks for that. Sherilyn says,
good morning, Mrs. R.
You see a message? Put up that message from Mrs. R for me. Good morning, my breath of fresh air, Wendell. Isn't that something? Sharon.
Whatever you need to boost your ego.
I needed something to boost me this morning, trust me. Frank Clark says, I heard Wendell, and we look forward to your walk with Bajan lions. You have lions in Barbados? Never knew that. Nazir. Okay, Wendell, you really tried to read the name. His name is Nazir. All right, Nazir. And Mrs. R is laughing. She is so happy that she is greeting me this morning. All right, she's extremely ecstatic. All right. So, Charles, you have any greetings?
Yeah. Let me say good morning to God's child. God's child is a very quarrelsome individual. Eh? All right. Anyhow, to Kasim Mohammed, good morning. To Oliver, good morning. To Carlin out there in Caranage, good morning. Terry Ann Peters, always locked on very early. Good morning to you. To Frank, I don't know where Frank is from, and Frank, I don't know your last name either, but good morning to Frank. To Riaz, good morning. To Kent, Suzanne on the message board very early. Also to Norris Ferguson and Mr. Beeps. Good morning to all those people. Mr. Beeps.
I may be in tongue a little later on the morning when that I might pass through.
When did I can't hear that?
Like his mic is low.
I muted my mic. My apologies. I'm here for most of the day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You may say me.
All right, no problem.
So what's in the news?
Well, Penelope Beckles, the opposition leader, was in ripping form on the platform. I don't even know that you sent that video, right, Mandel?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, let me see if I can play a little bit of that video because it's quite
interesting.
How should I put it?
Out of character.
Well, seeing Kenny in a light you don't usually see her in. Let's put it that way. The opposition leader. Let me get it. Let me see.
Because over the last few years, we've been seeing the male dominance of the political platforms. Dr. Rowley was a real strong platform figure, and then of course within recent time we saw Stuart Young. So now we're seeing another side of Penny coming forward there, and I think it will take some convincing going forward. But I think
we've had different styles in leaders in terms of the PNM. Yeah, we've only had two people who've headed the UNC, right? Basdeo Pandey and Kamla Prasad Desesa. But we've had different leaders of the People's National Movement, and they all have different styles. All had different styles. Penelope Beckles Robinson she's been kind of reserved, but she has to step up now because let's face it, a lot of people are looking up to her. And if she could get back that 102,000 votes that the PNM lost, well, then all power to her, you know. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
The
it just,
division
you
is
know,
over.
I'm getting
The
accustomed.
time for blame is over. As Foster said, there are a lot of them. Because let us face it, whenever you lose an election, it always have trauma. But you always have to ask yourself, are you committed to the PNM? Do you want us to get back into government? Or you want to go every minute on the Facebook? You're putting out a press release, it ain't have no name. Show your face, show your name. Faceless, nameless, a pack of cowards. When you get into politics, you have to be brave. You have to put up your name. You have to take licks. Your back has to be broad. That is who I am, it's broad. I joined the PNM in 1991, and I want to let them know I started off as a local government councillor. I became opposition senator. I became opposition MP. I served in several ministries. The first female deputy speaker, ambassador to the United Nations. Don't worry, I was out of the wilderness for 10 years. I come back in 2020. I'm going again in 2025.
Yes,
And if
leadership.
you want to challenge me, be brave, challenge me.
I wonder who should join them was
I
for.
am part of an institution. The flower is the balisé. If you chop it, it grow back. If you burn it, it grow back. The balisé can't dead, and penny beckers can't dead.
Politically.
Which
Penny.
I want you to tell them, because the same cowards, the nameless, faceless cowards, they want to know who can talk and who soft. But don't worry, they should have come and face me. Come and face me, because I am afraid. I want to remind them, I challenged in 2014 and I lost. And I came back again. Because my loyalty is to the People's National Movement. And if any time I have to fight for anything, it's in the People's National Movement.
Richard, like you know, see whole speech, right?
Okay, bro. Change makers. Play the team for change makers.
We walk the road with banners high, dreams of victory kiss the sky. But now the echoes start to fade. The change makers left to trade. Who picks the pieces when they fall? Who hears the whispers in the hole? The change makers call out the game, but the fire they lit feels tame. The Senate doors, they creak and groan, voices silenced by the tone. Choices made behind the veil, a party ship begins to sail. Who picks the pieces when they fall?
I think change makers only have a real good theme song. Courtesy the breakfast show. Peter C. Lewis, you in charge of the Penny Becker song. And so,
Yeah.
so we can have a DJ fight out and let the audiences vote on which song better. This is nothing to do with Penelope Becker. That's just us, you know, having fun on the back of her. So she went after the change makers there, that speech.
Basically, yes.
Basically, that's what she went out. Show your face.
Show your
Who
face.
are you?
Don't be faceless and nameless.
Yep.
Show your face. Challenge me.
Yes. So have you ever seen Penelope? Well, you would know, Wendell. Have you ever seen Penelope Beckles so fiery?
Well, she's not
On the platform, have you ever seen her like that?
No. I mean, I haven't seen her all the time when she's been on a platform. But no, I've not seen her so fiery. Remember, she has this role, she has an important role now, eh? She is now the opposition leader and de facto political leader. That's far different to contesting a Rima seat. You understand? So Ms. Beckles Robinson will soon find out, just like most other leaders, that her problems are very close to her. Her challenges, her issues may be closer than she thinks. She'll find that out in the fullness of time. I wish
so you know where I'm there, because you're kind of saying it in a very foreboding, prophetic kind of way.
No. All the leaders have had to face that, Richard. That's the reality. All leaders have faced challenges and, for want of a better word, backstabbing from people who are close to them. Not so. That's historic. That's the history of our politics here.
Is that what you're saying about Foster Cummings and Philip Watts?
I'm not calling anybody name.
That's what you send that there.
You ain't getting me that baccarat at all. All I'm saying is that Mrs. Beckles Robinson, in my humble opinion, the fact that she has been appointed unopposed, nominated unopposed as political leader, so she is in fact the de facto political leader unless something goes awry, right?
Okay.
I would not have endorsed her sleep.
When you said she was out in the wilderness for 10 years, that was when she was the UN ambassador she's talking about?
That's when she was removed by Patrick Manning. She was not selected as the candidate.
But she was the ambassador to the UN, wasn't she?
I think she eventually became an ambassador. Not so she. There was a time I think she was not doing anything. If I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Right? So it might be that.
Because she was giving her political history, basically.
Yes.
In that speech.
Dr. Rowley who revived her career, if you remember.
Yeah.
Her back. And then she became the MP again in 2015, right? No, 2020. 2015 she wasn't the MP. What am I saying? Who was the MP now? I kind of get confused there. But I think he was the one who revived her political career. And she challenged him. And well, she lost then, and she put up her name again as potential lead prime minister in Tobago. She lost then, and now here she is. She is political leader and opposition leader. So I wish her all the best. I get along very good with Ms. Beckles Robinson. If you always have a good interaction when we meet, you know what I mean, and I always see her walking about. You know what I mean, she's one of those people. If you go to an event, you'll see her walking about. You understand? But as I said...
Well, of course, she's from Arima, so we haven't had anybody that high up from Arima in a while. I mean, the last time we had somebody pretty high up from Arima was when, boy, I don't want to say my grandfather, because I don't want to go... but as mayor and as he's pretty high up. He's pretty high up. Yeah. He's pretty high up.
Yeah.
You know.
But yeah. So he didn't exile her, Ron DeSantis, because she wasn't a sitting MP at the point in time. He gave her that opportunity. So that wasn't an exile. You understand?
Yeah. So, of course, it's time for our news, the daily news headlines. So, of course, I'll do the Newsday, Wendell will do the Express, and Sir Charles will do the Guardian.
Yep. All right, so let me find it. I didn't find it today.
All right.
What's your story? You need to get up early in the morning and go to you again. What's your story,
Trust me, when
just not going out, do you?
When he get accustomed to doing things online, he would not be wanting to go the road. Trust me.
That's funny.
All right, so let me do the Guardian in the meantime.
Send Mrs. R out the road and get your papers for you.
Who? Send who?
What's she there for?
Who's that?
Mrs. R.
You looking for a cuss.
And she just cuss her. She just cuss.
All right. So you want me guys to do the Guardian in the meantime while Wendell
Go
switches?
Go ahead, Sir Charles. Go ahead. If you want to start, go ahead.
Well, that's only hedging. All right. Okay. So in the Guardian today, Minister declares illegal dumping in waters national emergency. So that is Works and Infrastructure Minister. And I don't think we have to get accustomed to seeing in that position. Julian John has declared the widespread practice of dumping waste in watercourses a national emergency. So she's dealing with that. And then there's the story of the torrential rain causing flooding, and it forces closure of schools. And there's another story with security boosted in Citrus Peninsula, and that is by the Homeland Security Minister, Sir Alexander. TNT awaits confirmation a national named in Venezuela alleged terror plot. So I thought they had named that person already. Anyhow, Citrus residents in fear calls for security amidst tension with Venezuela. And the Heart Foundation is calling for a ban on ultra-processed foods in schools. They have about 1,000 more headlines, but I'll stop there.
All right, so I could go with the news day. And then the news day, the main, some of the main stories. Yeah, thank you. Some of the main stories in the news day this morning. Mother of student 15 beaten outside Holy Faith. Girls fighting for likes. Soca Warriors advanced the CONCACAF's final round despite 2-1 loss to Los Ticos. 4 freed of real estate agents 2005 murder. Judge slams prosecutors. So this murder took place in 2005. And 20 years later, we're now getting some sort of result out of that court case. Family, Malini soul can't rest. DNA tests delay state's release of murdered teen's body. Sammy warns more players may follow Puran in Windy's exit. And Padarath doubles down on Venezuela comments. And, well, yeah, IR expert Padarath adding fuel to Trinidad and Tobago Venezuela fire. And that's it, basically, for the news day this morning. So you got a mix of sports and regular news there.
All right, and today's Express Online, hit by pickup, penal mom dies. I sent that video too because I got it from someone we interviewed recently. That's a horrific video of that accident, of those 2 people being knocked down.
That's the video you wanted me to show?
Yeah, but I mean, we have to warn people because it's graphic, you know. For those who don't like to see those kind of things, you know.
Well, I am one of those, so I don't like to see those kind of things. So you know.
Okay. So a 64-year-old penal woman was run over and killed while crossing a road near her home on Monday night. Her daughter, who was walking alongside her, was also struck, and she is in hospital. Ministry probes violent assault on teen student. That's at the Holy Faith Convent in Cuba. I'm sure many of you would have seen that video. Those are videos that I don't like to watch. So from the time it starts, I just click end and I don't watch anymore. Gonzalez, that's Dr. Anthony Gonzalez, says the problem was badly articulated on both sides, and that's the issue with Trinidad and Venezuela. And Sobers, that's Minister Sean Sobers, says there's no tension with Venezuela, and a Greek tragedy. And what is the tragedy? It says a group of 20 nationals expressing frustration over being denied a UK visa after each spent about $41,000 on a planned trip to Greece next month, with 2 stopovers in London. Of course, you know, Trinidadians and Tobagonians now require a UK visa, and it's expensive for a short period. So they are now crying foul. Their travel plans are already in motion with down payments made throughout 2024, months before the UK government implemented this visa restriction. Of course, Akil Hossain, in West Indies cricketer, also had problems getting a visa. he has since gotten it and arrived in England the morning and then ended up on the field the same morning. Baby's body found at Beetham landfill, public asked for help, and motorcyclists crashed into Labre concrete barriers. All of those are news in today's Online Express. But that's our news today.
So do you want me to show the video, or you think it's too graphic to show?
It's graphic. I don't think it's too graphic to show because we've seen accidents, because you're not actually seeing the people's faces, you know, and you're not seeing the result of the accident, but you're seeing the actual accident, right? So maybe we could show it, but we warn people it's a bit graphic, the accident in Pinar, all right? So if you know you're a little squirmish, don't watch.
All right. Well, I mean, I don't really want to see it, but.
All right, well, don't show it. Don't show it.
I'm saying if you
the only thing I'm going to force you to do today is buy something from Rumbox when you come. I'm not going to force you to do this video.
No, but if you say it adds value of some sort, then fine. I wonder if I have the right video for it. I can show some video I shouldn't be showing.
You have those types of videos?
Actually, no, unless you send them.
Me? Don't bring me in that. Don't bring me in that at all.
The comment section indicating whether they want to see it or not really.
I'm sure. I don't think people will mind. All right, Lester Cragwell says don't show. Ron DeSantis says don't show. All right, so we won't show it. 2 people said don't show it. Yeah, and Alistair Hart is correct. We have seen people getting gunned down many times, you know. But it's an accident that the family was in grief last night because I also watched the news. It's a sad time, especially when people get knocked down. I have known people who got knocked down. See that foreshore out by Cookery there, by the Cookery Fish Market there? Among the people I know personally who got knocked down there, including a family who lived next to us, who their daughter was killed. It's not a nice thing, you know. So condolences to the family of the loved ones who lost their grandmother and mother, you know. So we won't show it. We won't show it. All right. The consensus is not to show it, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
But
So
at this point, while you come up with a poll, Wendell, you can send it to me in the chat. So of course we can open up the lines at this point. This is where you can get interactive. Let me just pull up stuff here. So, and this is the number that you can call, 281-1315, 281-1315. We're taking your calls as we head towards the 7 a.m. news this morning. Of course, we're gonna about 5-2, we're gonna break for our poll, which Wendell is busily crafting right now. But you can call in at this point, 281-1315, 281-1315, and weigh in on any topic that you think is worthy of discussion.
All right, so we have a lot of people online early, so let's get them and let's move along. Call up, morning to you.
Good morning, Sir Charles.
Morning, Dabadi.
Good. Yes, sir. Good morning, Wendell. Good morning to
Good morning, Ms. Mendoza.
Good morning.
I wanted to, it's a good thing only play Penny video because last night I was watching the news and I saw a man who was going up for chairman of the PNM and 2 other men with him. So I was wondering, I said, wait now, they are PNM because I mean, I don't know, I'm not in PNM business, so I don't know who is PNM, who is not PNM. So I say, if they're going up for PNM and the other one for labor relations officer, the other one for PR, I said, but you know something? PNM will do good with these 3 young men with fresh new faces and could make a difference to what is happening now. Instead of the old people faces, I ain't saying old as an age, don't get me wrong, the same old faces then, right? So I say, but, and they have the same problem that you list and you list and you list and you list. Complaining, the same thing UNC people are saying, the same thing PNM people are saying.
Yeah, sure.
What it is, when I was listening to your playing Penny just now, all I had heard it before, why doesn't she address these issues? And then we will know, like people like me, who look on and I follow everything, I mean, things will look like it above, not no hanky-panky thing, because they're complaining about the list and they have names and no phone number and no email. So how could they contact these people if there's nothing else more than a name? But I think these are, if I was in PNM, if I were a member, I would have voted for these 3 young men, because they are new people. And if they want new people to bring people and bring young people, that's the way to start. Good morning, everybody.
All right. We're going to get into PNM internal elections as it heats up next week, because it's going to heat up next week. We're going to try to get some of the people who are contesting positions. That's what we're going to do, We're going to get into it. Don't worry.
All right. So we're still taking your calls to 811-315. Good morning, caller.
I gave you a poll, Richard.
Right.
Yeah, I overrode your poll and I came upon another poll.
Well, let me
All right. Good. Good morning, caller.
You do what a lot of other people do.
Caller, are you there?
Yeah, waiting for Wendell to finish.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I want to know what is going on with the former Minister of Education. If what Dr. Gatsby Dolly said, if the UNC had said that, they would have been going crazy. I mean, how she knows the people, the children who are fighting in school, their parents are PNM. What, when your child fight and you have to go into the ministry, they ask you to see your party card? What nonsense! Let me tell you. You see, with people like Gatsby Dolly, they're turning people off with the nonsense they haven't been fighting. That is one. And all this fool. I mean, I'm just trying to figure out, Dr. Gatsby Dolly, let it make sense now, man. Come on.
Caller,
yes.
I allowed you to finish. But yes. I saw the clip. Did she hear you?
Yes.
I said I saw the clip of Dr. Lindy-Ann Bachoo speaking, and I did say yesterday that it had to have had some sort of context, and I understand the context now. She was speaking to PNM.
Tongue in cheek.
Okay. She was speaking in a PNM meeting, and she was speaking from that perspective of PNM people. You understand? Listen, hold on. I didn't agree that it should be said, but I said there had to have been a context, and I understood the context when I saw the video after.
Oh, anyway, that element, you see that? I was so upset when I climbed the UNC that said that I go crazy. Wow. The next thing, I watched this next fight. What is going on with these children? What is going on? I want to tell the Minister of Education, fast track what the Prime Minister said, because somebody will have to go down, God forbid, down to Federation Park in that forensic to identify the child. Let them continue with this nonsense. Because you see that get rat behavior I saw yesterday, and the thing is, they changed the clothes. I want the police to find all of them and charge them. Yes.
I do agree with calling children, regardless of how recalcitrant they may be, and I do agree with calling them ghetto rat.
The behavior was, Wendell, you saw, as a man said yesterday on a radio station, you could imagine, since we're the one in Southeast, one of the girl's father have bad man friend. You see how the thing could escalate? And they go and light up them 3 children parents? What are we doing?
So we could call them bad behaved children.
Yes.
But
thanks for
Martin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Andre, I saw it on Facebook. I'm not tech savvy like Richard is to get these things downloaded and so on. But I saw it. But I understood the context in which he said it. I don't agree that it should have been said, but I understood the context in which he said it.
Hi, good morning to you, caller.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Virginia, front and center. Hey, I want to commend you all for being responsible people in the media. Not playing that clip. First and foremost, in consideration to the families, of the deceased. But last but not least, don't jeopardize your YouTube channel with this politically correct environment that we exist in right now. With the hypocrisy and who they choose to keep on and who they choose to flag or keep off. So, hey, Wendell, I just want to let you know, man. When she was sent to the UN, this was right after she made a challenge for the leadership. Wasn't it twice she did it? And I tell you what, they didn't want to jeopardize the base of the East-West corridor. Let's face it, that's the strongest base for the PNM, right where you did not get the 100,000 something votes. And last but not least, listen, it doesn't have to be somebody who is in the leadership of the PNM have to be part of this that letter that was sent to the media, because as Sparrow said himself, that you'll get criticized, ostracized, and last but not least, you're on the risk of being victimized, unfortunately, in this toxic political environment. So that's the situation there. Anyway, gentlemen, have a good morning.
All right, take care. You're on. Dr. Rowley, to his credit, when he formed the government, right, he would have used a lot of people who had previously opposed him. He would have put in positions a lot of people who had opposed him. Dr. Brown was one. Paula Gopi-Schoon would have been one too under Mr. Manning. And speaking about when he had his feud with Mr. Manning, you understand? A lot of those same people found their way into his government. Colin Byrd, Marlene McDonald, quite a few of them. He reached out and stretched out that olive branch and embraced all, because at the end of the day, he was all for PNM. So I just hope, even if Penny feels that people are faceless and nameless and they challenging her and so on and so on, that she embraces everybody after, because let's face it, at the end of the day, she is going to be the political leader. You understand? So she has to embrace all these people still, who she might be, for want of a better word, attacking on a platform at the end of the day. But you see me, as I say, I have taken a political rest. I have no choice because I'm on radio talking about it, because if I wasn't on radio, all I had to come by Roblox to listen to me talk. But so fortunate that Charles and Richard is waking me up every single morning and have me here. Every morning they wake me up. They wouldn't let me sleep in the night sometimes.
Hold. Good morning, caller.
Yeah. Now listen. When they allow you going?
I'm good. Yeah,
there's your boy Grant.
Mr. Grant, I see you trying to call me this morning.
My money right on my cell phone.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
so, I have seen, any party groups since with Mr. Ronnie Williams' time. I see the best and I see the worst of PNM people from that time, saying Ronnie Williams there. I see all the backstabbers, all the users, all the come lately, all who now come. Now the PNM is 40-something years now I'm talking about. And listen, man, the people and them now, I don't like, as I always say, as you know them, I don't like this deceitfulness. You can't tell me you call yourself chain maker and you ain't no name. That is the same thing when Louis was going up. He never used to come to a meeting. When he went up for election, he wanted to know who the party group leaders, who the party group, he had no name. Because if he used to come constituency meeting, you will know that. You'll not know all the party group who is who and who. Right? Because I will now send Crispin to talk. But I said, look, let me hold my peace. Right? Our next thing, we have it's from my group of a young boy going up there for youth officer. My name is Joey Maharaj, a good young fella. And I go with him. You only 6 of them.
We actually have 3 good candidates for youth officer. Abin Brooks, Josima James, and Carrie Master.
You mean you all actually have young people going up for youth officer?
Yes, young people for the youth officer.
That's a first for the PNM.
No, the previous youth officer was young too. Ginny Scott from Arima.
Caller, good morning to you.
Good morning, Sir Charles.
Morning,
Good
Zena.
morning,
You ever
Richard.
notice, Richard?
Good morning,
Take a
Zena.
thing that's called Zena. You ever notice Sir Charles picked Zena called just before we had to go to a poll and we don't get time for the poll? But go ahead, Zena.
Because, all right, because we do I call in since only taking calls.
Go ahead, no,
Zena.
Zena, I have to continue.
Don't worry, when they're only pulling your foot.
Listen, you see that PNM thing? We have to have a proper time to kind of ventilate this story. Let me tell you something. People have to understand when they take the party to a loss. You must step away and give others a chance. Don't try to do like you want to hold on to the party. It's not yours. And those who lost, they're supposed to stay in the wilderness, and they come in and make it sound like if it's Dr. Rowie and it's George Young that made they caused this us to lose this election. It is not that people were gravitating to Stuart Young. They have to realize that they did not do their work. Plenty of them did not do their work. They were absent in their areas, and people were fed up. So they have to stop this and stop trying to hold on the party and do like if it's theirs. And this one slate or one, who the hell they call themselves, they could think that the PNM belongs to them. It has plenty other people in the PNM, and that could run it effectively.
All right,
so
okay.
This is my grouse.
Thanks very much, Zena.
So Richard, who has overwritten my poll, sorry, is going to put up his own poll. Where your poll? Let me see a poll. Your poll.
Yeah. You know it better than the one you suggested. You just don't tell me.
No, my poll, Richard, would have sparked a further debate on whether we should show graphic videos or not.
No.
So, because we had to face the reality someday, we're going to have to show it, you know.
No. Of course not. You don't have to. Are you confident that TNT will qualify for the World Cup? That's our poll this morning, connecting to our loss last night to Costa Rica 2-1, but still we came second in the Group B and move on to the next stage in the CONCACAF region. So are you confident that TNT will qualify for the World Cup? That's our poll for this morning.
I now realize why somebody asked a question about the match. I think our next match is actually against USA. Somebody had asked a question about where's the match in the USA earlier on. I just remember that. Yeah. So I don't know who I'm calling. Norris Ferguson, who is an expert in football, at least so he said. Sometimes I ain't sure if he ever kick a line in his life, but he's a former FIFA executive. He will tell us where the match is in the US. Norris, we are waiting on you.
So are you confident the TNT will qualify for the World Cup? That's our poll this morning. What says you, our listeners and viewers? Of course, you can vote via the comment section from YouTube and Facebook. If you are watching us on M&E TV, you can WhatsApp your vote at 2811315. You should have it saved already, so you can WhatsApp us. So you can WhatsApp your vote at 2811315. I don't know if we'll be able to take any calls as we head to the 7 a.m. news. We can probably take some of the early votes that are coming in before we break for news.
Yes. So I have some votes already. Charles Duncan says yes. Alistair Hart says no. Estelita Sampson says yes. We do not have visa problem. Okay. Andre says yes. Nazir says no. Ron DeSantis says no. Ramnarish says yes. Beauty Culture says no. Miguel Gonzalez says no. Keep the votes coming, folks. We have a whole minute left. Trinidad says no. What's the chance have there?
Pauline off the blocks very early. People, we're not taking any calls right now. All right. So Pauline says yes. Sean says yes. Zena says yes. Junior, I'd open Junior message. And Junior says no, he's not confident. And Junior is a real football fan. So Junior living in the real world. All right. And Captain Ron says yes.
Let me say good morning to Captain Ron. He's on his way to Salt Lake City, Utah. I really had to find a way to get on a flight that Captain Ron is commandeering, so I could actually see a cockpit for the first time. Thank God it's Richard and not Paul. Marlon Motley says no. Lester Cragwell says no. Cheryl M says no. Terrence Roach, no. Robert Taylor, yes. Kenwin Henry says yes. Kenwin Henry sounds like a old football name. Ingrid from Tucson says yes. DL says no. Claire Lendo Rollins, yes. Finbar Collins, yes. Morning, Finbar. Gregory Boyer says no. Magic says no. Candice Pascal didn't vote. Cheryl City, no. So we'll stop there at Cheryl City and we will go to the news. And when we come back, we're discussing noise pollution. We have the president and vice president of that association, Joey Maharaj and Ms. Bachoo, as our guests in the next hour. We'll talk noise pollution, all right? So when we come back, we'll start from after Cheryl City, right?
All right, so 7 a.m. news is next.
The news you need, the clarity you deserve. Local, regional, global. This is Net Radio News Now.
This is your news update for Wednesday, June 11th, 2025. I am Amanda Mitchell with New Era TT Radio and M&E TV. Works and Infrastructure Minister Jalen John has declared illegal dumping in watercourses a national emergency, warning that the practice is fueling widespread flooding. During a tour of outfall drains in Couva North, Minister John highlighted the urgent need for maintenance ahead of the rainy season. She said items like drums, stoves, wardrobes, and plastic bottles have clogged drains, worsening flood risks across the country. John said the ministry is working with the Couva Tabakith Talcaro Regional Corporation to clear neglected water channels, many of which once served Caroni's sugarcane fields. She emphasized the devastating human cost of flooding, saying uninsured families often lose everything. Despite offers from private contractors, only government agencies are currently involved in flood mitigation. Former Attorney General Reginald Armour is being urged to publicly apologize for what are being described as malicious accusations in the $20 million Vindra Naipal Kulman malicious prosecution case. The call came from former Attorney General Anand Ramlagan, following the Court of Appeal's decision to reinstate the multi-million-dollar award to 9 men wrongfully imprisoned for 10 years before being freed in 2016. Each man is set to receive $2.1 million. Ramlagan condemned Armour's claims of a missing court file, which he said were disproven in court and intended to deflect from the state's mishandling of the case. He labeled Armour's comments as scurrilous and disingenuous. The appeal court also criticized the former AG's office for failing to act promptly and found that the state had proper notice of hearings but failed to appear. A brutal cutlass attack in Cunupia on Monday afternoon has left 3 family members injured in what police say is a domestic violence-related incident. Around 3:30 p.m., a 26-year-old man was visiting his mother and sister at a home along William Trace Welcome Road when the mother's estranged husband arrived armed with a cutlass, despite a protection order. The suspect chopped the young man several times, severing his right thumb and inflicting deep wounds to his palm, forearm, and face. Both women were also attacked. The 55-year-old mother received a head injury and bruises, while her daughter suffered cuts to both legs. The suspect fled in a silver Mitsubishi Lancer, but allegedly returned minutes later with 2 other men, issuing death threats before fleeing again. All 3 victims were taken to the Chaguanas Health Facility, with the male victim later transferred to the Eric Williams Medical Sciences Complex. The suspect remains at large. You are listening to news on New Era TT Radio. In regional news, trade and economic ministers from the 15-member CARICOM bloc have begun a 2-day high-level meeting in Guyana, tackling growing trade challenges in an increasingly volatile global environment. CARICOM Secretary General Dr. Carla Barnett told the 60th Council of Trade and Economic Development meeting that recent tariff shocks, especially from the U.S., highlight the urgent need for the Caribbean to diversify its trade partnerships. Dr. Barnett referenced tariffs of up to 38% on some Caribbean exports, particularly impacting Guyana, and urged members to accelerate talks with Colombia, the U.S., and El Salvador, while also boosting intra-regional trade. She called for the removal of trade barriers and emphasized the need for a revised common external tariff and updated rules of origin. The meeting continues today with a focus on finalizing the regional industrial policy to drive growth and integration. In international news, climate activist Greta Thunberg has been deported from Israel a day after the Israeli Navy intercepted the Gaza-bound aid ship she was aboard. Speaking in Paris yesterday, Thunberg called for the release of fellow activists still detained, saying their treatment pales in comparison to what Palestinians are enduring in Gaza. The ship, Madeleine, was seized in international waters, sparking accusations from rights groups of a breach of international law. Israel dismissed the voyage as a publicity stunt, calling it a selfie yacht with minimal aid. 12 people were on board, including a journalist and French MEP Rima Hassan. While Thunberg and 3 others were deported, 8 remained detained at Israel's Givon prison. Thunberg said the mission was to deliver aid and protest Israel's blockade of Gaza. That concludes your news update for today. I'm Amanda Mitchell for New Era TT Radio and M&E TV. The Breakfast Show with Wendell, Richard and Sir Charles continues right after this short break.
That was news now. Stay informed with New Era TT Radio, Net Radio.
Better. Join Sir Charles for the mid-morning mix and mingle, where good music, real talk, health, and family matters come together, and your voice is heard. Whether you're at work, on the go, or just taking a break, this is the perfect mix to keep you engaged, informed, and entertained. The mid-morning mix and mingle, weekdays, 9 a.m. to 12 noon on New Era TT Radio, Net Radio.
This summer, give your child skills of a lifetime with several boot camp. Children between the ages of 5 to 17 come enjoy Children Iron Chef Competition. Your child will learn to prepare healthy breakfast, lunch, dinner, CPR, first aid, and conflict management. With field trip, your child will be given free apron and certification upon completion. Call 492-7397 or 336-4935. Institute of Health and Fitness Company Limited, located at number 79 St. Vincent Street, Tunapuna.
Mornings just got better. You're locked into Net Radio Breakfast Show. Fuel your day with the best music and real talk.
Double, boy. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I would never tell a lie to you, 'cause I believe in the truth, and I just wanna live good. I don't want no dirty secrets fighting me and you, boy. I can only drive one car at a time, but I still want to, 'cause everything is balance. Right through life, what we want is balance. To be a good wife, what you need is balance. Bend down, touch your toe and balance. Go low and balance. Love comes from a place where we don't get jealous, and we don't live like no dream sellers. I say we keeping it real, I'm telling you like it is. I'll be there for you with anything you're facing. I'll be your sunlight when it's raining. Stay together and we go in places. Yeah. I'll be by your side no matter the case. We have a one-way ticket to greatness. Girl, I don't want to lie, 'cause I believe in the truth, and I just wanna live good. I don't want no dirty secrets fighting me and you, boy. I can only drive one car at a time, but I still want to. And let me get to the truth.
Morning vibes, fresh energy. This is the Net Radio Breakfast Show.
drive one car.
So we welcome you back to the breakfast show right here on New Era TT Radio, and of course we are also live on M&E TV. And remember, when the TV feed goes down just after 8 o'clock, remember you can stream with us all day. All right, at NewEraTTRadio.com. You can also hook up via TuneIn, and then you get to listen to us on all of your smart devices, right?
For you, it's anything you're facing. I'll be your sunlight when it's
so we are back inside.
Great news, Caribbean. The Breakfast Show is now on M&E TV, bringing you entertaining conversations, vital information, and influential perspectives throughout Trinidad and Tobago and across the Caribbean region. Catch us on Digicel Channel 20, Flow Channel 111, Amplia Channel 117, Blink Channel 109, Trico Channel 154, and Airlink Channel 10. The Breakfast Show connects with the Caribbean and Trinidad and Tobago like never before. We're now on M&E TV.
Oh my gosh, we're packing up because we are going to Naparima Bowl.
Naparima Bowl, we coming. Naparima Bowl, we coming back.
Oh God, we have to take all of these. Everything have to go.
June the 14th, you don't want to miss it.
Listen, you see how tight it is to get through this? You better get your tickets early. 14th of June, Naparima Bowl. One show only.
14th, we coming on. Let's go worry yourself today. That's straight there? What? Tell all they know I walk by.
Somebody help!
Sensational. Yeah. What did I do for you, girl?
S&H Rumbox, 137 Western Main Road, St. James, for all your retail and wholesale needs for alcohol and non-alcoholic beverages. Call us at 686-0599 or visit us at 137 Western Main Road, St. James. S&H Rumbox, drinking out of the box. Last call, Cipriani College, last call. RSR Productions, Married and Mischievous is on its last call at Cipriani College. The #1 comedy that has everybody talking and laughing comes to Cipriani College for a final 2 nights. Saturday the 14th of June at 8:30 p.m. and on Father's Day, Sunday the 15th of June at 6:30 p.m. Treat your dad to this comedy. Married and Mischievous at Cipriani College. Tickets available at usual outlets and at the Cipriani College box office from Monday 9th June. Don't miss this one. Adults only. Of course, we're back on the breakfast show for the second hour. And of course, I just wanted to get the rest of the votes for the morning poll before we go into our interview with the Citizens Against Noise Pollution in Trinidad and Tobago. That's up next, so you should not miss that conversation. And we'll be speaking to the President, Joey Maharaj, and the Vice President, Lindy-Ann Bachoo. So Bachoo? Okay. So we going to go to that interview shortly, but we're just finishing off the morning poll.
Well, I just had one more vote actually. Well, no, 2 actually. Eldon Coker, morning Eldon. He said yes, and Rajiv Ramlal says yes. And Margaret Thomas also squeezed in just now with a yes. All right, so those are the 3 votes I have. I don't know if Sir Charles has any.
Yeah, so I have Dennis who's saying yes, Valerie saying no, and Ria out there in Karanach is saying yes to the polls. And the polls are now closed.
All right, polls are closed. So just to give people a sense of the football, we have a match on June 15th versus the USA, and that match is playing in San Jose, California. We also have a match on June 22nd. Actually, no, we have a next match before that. Norris, I'm getting the date for the Trinidad Haiti game. It's playing at the Shell Energy Stadium. And on June 22nd, we are playing South Africa. KSA is South Africa, isn't it? And KSA is South Africa. I think that's the short name for South Africa. That's so, Richard, what's up, what you mean?
I don't know. Come into the CONCACAF region.
Can help you out with that.
Yeah, we confused. How does South Africa come into the
I'm not saying KSA can't be South Africa. I know that short name for South Africa. It must be somebody else. But they're playing. Trinidad is playing at the Allegiant Stadium on June 22nd also. What the hell is KSA? Hold on, that's how we'll find it now. Send me a thing here. It's tiny.
Maybe that's not a CONCACAF match. Maybe that's a friendly. Maybe it's Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I think KSA, I've known it as South Africa.
Yeah, it's being told that RSA will be the Republic of South Africa.
Oh, RSA is South Africa. Let's see. So KSA will be Saudi Arabia. That's what it is. Saudi Arabia.
So it has to be a friendly. Anyway, so our poll this morning, are you confident that Trinidad and Tobago will qualify for the World Cup? That was our poll for this morning. We had 35 people voting on the poll in the allotted time. And of the 35 people, it was pretty close. It was actually split down the middle for a lot of the voting that took place on this. So people are really split on it. Well, I wouldn't know, but you could play it. So 17 people said no, and 18 people said yes. So the yeses inched a win in this vote. 18 said yes, and 17 said no in terms of which are you confident that TNT will qualify for the World Cup? But the yeses, the optimistic bunch, edged the win in our vote this morning. Of course, we will see it all play out before our very eyes as the qualifying matches continue. So that's it for our poll this morning. And our poll was, are you confident that TNT will qualify for the World Cup?
You know what that means also, right? That they'll issue a lot of visas, US visas and Canadian visas over the next period leading up to that World Cup. Because it'll mean a lot of people, a lot of tourists will be heading out there. You know? I might take a little touch.
Right. So next up, we have our interview, as we said, and so let's get into that. So good morning to our guests this morning. Of course, we are speaking with the citizens against a noise pollution of Trinidad and Tobago. And we are speaking to the Vice President and the President. The President is Joey Maharaj, and the Vice President is Lindy-Ann Bachoo. Good morning, guys, and welcome to the Breakfast Show.
Good morning, good morning. We want to say a special welcome to the Breakfast Show family. We are very happy and we are pleased to meet you all and to share our stories with the wider citizenry of Trinidad and Tobago.
All right, good morning to you guys, and thanks for having us.
Good morning.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us this morning. We appreciate you speaking with us this morning. So, of course, I mean, we could start with the basics in terms of tell us what this institution is about, when was it formed, a little historical background.
Yeah. That's a problem. So Citizens Against Noise Pollution was actually founded as a support online group, a Facebook group actually, in 2015. One brave woman, Josie Ashe Golad, she actually was plagued, she's from San Fernando, plagued by noise pollution. And she decided to start a Facebook group. And each member, because our Facebook group is inching towards 4,000 already. And these are just members who we have in a digital community. There are, of course, much more people who are affected by noise pollution in Trinidad and Tobago. And we, in our executive, actually, we each found each other. And that it's just a synergy at a grassroots level. Mr. Maharaj, who's the president, we would have been strangers and joined together. We were able to come together along with some other executive members because we were all plagued at a personal level with noise pollution problems. And at around 2021, Mr. Maharaj would have taken the opportunity to actually register us as an NGO. And that's when we actually started to try at a much more macro level to push the issue of noise pollution and how it was affecting people, because this thing is actually a raging health crisis at this point in time.
Tell us something. When you said it was started by a particular individual, what was her issue in terms of what was affecting her in terms of the noise?
Right. I think in her area at that time in San Fernando, she was being bombarded by noise from bars. All right. And they were not soundproof. So the noise was affecting her so badly that she would actually get migraines and she would have to hospitalize herself. And that is when she decided to take the step to find other individuals, find other community members. And she started the group. And the group at that time only had probably 350 members, and then slowly it just started to burgeon and it just started to grow.
Yeah, because the issue of noise pollution, I think, reared its head the first time. You can correct me if I'm wrong. When a government would have placed a ban on music, loud music, in maxi taxis. I remember you used to hear maxi taxi a mile away when it passed it. And they had placed a ban in terms of the equipment that they could put in a maxi taxi to entertain, for want of a better word, their passengers. Was that the start of this issue of noise pollution?
You are actually very accurate, Mr. Stephen. You have a very good grasp of your history, because when we started to do research, we recognized that noise pollution actually, it started to come to the forefront at a national level at around that time in 1994. Actually, it was January in 1994 that the then Minister of Works and Transport, he went on record in Parliament and he said that prior to 1994, he was bombarded, at that time it was Mr. Colum Imbe, right? Bombarded by letters to his constituency and to his office about the problems that citizens were having traveling in public transportation and being bombarded by absolutely loud music. And then there were the steps that were taken. They had consultations. I think they actually tried with the Maxi Taxi Association at that time, and they failed to regulate themselves. And of course, when we fail to regulate ourselves, then that's when we have to have much more of a stringent measures coming into place. And that's when I think that's when they actually passed the law. And we are saying now, this is the stage that we have reached. We can no longer depend on individual citizens, right? Because noise pollution, the sources actually come from various areas. They come from private citizens who put on their speakers and they face it towards their neighbors. They're not facing it towards themselves. They're facing it towards their neighbors, and they're playing it hours at a time. And then we have commercial establishments who actually, there's no law that is requiring them to soundproof their business. And they are playing, they are sometimes, and they operate under different names. Some of them might say they are lounge, they are cafe, but yet there's amplified music in the form of these huge loudspeakers, and many of them are in the open air. And then thirdly, we love our culture. I mean, the EMA has often touted in their very platonic releases that noise is not our culture, music is. And we have really noticed within the last decade or so that for many events, that we have promoters in our country who are ignoring the code of ethics that has been established by the EMA with regard to how you regulate your events. All right, so there are different sources. So we are not regulating ourselves. There's no civic duty anymore at an individual level to regulate and to understand that my right to business and to commerce, as well as to enjoy my music in my home, cannot and will never supersede another person's constitutional right to their peace of their home and their sleep in their home. So we are now begging, we are really pushing now to get the legislative changes because we cannot regulate ourselves anymore.
Yeah, but I just wanted to bring Mr. Maharaj into it because, of course, you are the president of the Citizens Against Noise Pollution. What motivated you to get involved in this group?
Well, I think where I live, opposite me is a bar, and over the years we have tolerated it. And when my child came, it became unbearable, especially, hearing when your child is sleeping and she's covering her ears and she can't sleep properly. And coming onto the group, you see that there's a lot of people experiencing this. I thought was just me alone. And then having spoken to the neighbors and them are wrong, They were all experiences, but all experiencing the same thing. So I was very irritated by it. And again, thinking that I am alone, thought that, well, I should do nothing or just be quiet. And then, as I say, having spoken to the neighbors around, all those in their individual minds were very irritated by it. And then I looked on the Facebook and saw the group, and then I realized, well, this is a problem throughout Trinidad, and that's how I ended up joining the group.
Yeah.
Now, the particular government in power campaigned. I remember Mrs. Prasad Bisesa bringing it up on a platform about noise pollution, that she's going to deal with it. Have you all engaged the government thus far? I don't know which ministry that would come under.
Well, what we have done is written to all the ministries, the TTPS, the environment, even the EMA, right, to have meetings with all of them. Anyone that we could actually have meetings with, right? We have emailed them. They haven't had any responses from them as yet. So at least we could start the ball rolling and probably have a collaborative effort from all of them. Because, I mean, it's not just from the EMA, but it's the EMA, the police, and all these government institutions has to get involved, because it affects everybody, even social development, everything. It affects everyone. So we have written all of them. I assume the present government is now putting their ministries in place and probably having teething problems. That's why they have not responded. But I guess we still are waiting their responses. We have tried calling the ministries again, but no response as yet. So we'll continue trying until we can meet each one of them or all of them at any point in time. So far, we haven't had any positive response in terms of meeting them at it. But we did make an effort to contact them.
No, go ahead, Richard.
Yeah, but Mrs. Bachoo, I know you said that legislative changes on the agenda of the citizens against noise pollution. What kind of legislation is it that you're having in mind in terms of the noise pollution issue?
Well, we have quite a couple, and we recognize some of the problems that have come up across over the years. Is that the EMA in particular have stated that they have their remit is just commercial noise, commercial and industrial type of noise. All right, so noise from an event per se. So let's say things like fetes, etc., car shows, etc. That is what they really want to manage. However, it has outgrown that, and we are saying, for instance, we can have noise meters, yes. But if the noise meters are expensive to buy and to resource to, for instance, in police stations, as well as in, to have it to use, we can actually legislate to have a plainly audible clause. And a plainly audible clause, which are used in some parts of the developed countries, is that all you need is a tape measure. Some countries use 25 meters away from the source, and your ears. So if you can actually plainly hear the music or the noise that is being emitted at a certain distance, then it's an offense. That's one change. Another change that we are looking at, which again is used in developed countries such as Finland and Switzerland, is income-based fines. Because right now we have fixed penalties, and the fixed penalties are not acting as a deterrent. So for instance, income-based fines really is supposed to be, I tax you or I penalize you based on your profit. So we would have now bigger businesses, for instance, even things like fetes. All right, we would have had a disastrous example in around 2021 or 2022 or so with Josie's jamishness that happened in Taruba. That affected swaths of South Trinidad. I'm talking about communities as far as Koki, and the event was staged in Taruba. That's a big difference. Calling the police stations for the entire night and complaining about the booming noise that was missing. That has been well documented in the newspapers, etc. about that. And we are saying, listen, for events like those, they have crossed the threshold limit that was specified by law. I am going to now penalize you, not with $1,000 fine or a $1,500 fine. I'm going to go after your income. So therefore now, if I know I am not going to be paying a paltry sum, and the sum might be, again, based on our income, I am going to have to now take measures so that it will not affect it. And therefore now we can separate the cafe down the road who is playing music. They will be taxed at a different level versus being a bigger business, or let's say a commercial event, a promoter that is having one, right? So income-based fines is another thing. The third one, yeah, sure.
Go on. Give me the third one.
The third one that we really want to actually push is the use of quiet time laws. quiet time laws are used in every developed country, from the UK to the US. They are used, and quiet time laws are protected hours of sleep. So, for instance, you would have, let's say in the UK, they call them nighttime laws. It's from, I think, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. All right. And in the US, it depends on the state, which state that you're in. So, I think for New York, I think it's around 10 p.m. to around 7 a.m. And within those hours, any type of loud noise, it could be music, whatever, construction, whatever type of loud noise is being emitted, the police can take action and actually charge the offender.
Yeah. Well, how do you balance that? Because you're gonna have some pushback, I assume, not only from promoters but from the cultural perspective. Because Trinidad and Tobago is generally, but more Trinidad and Tobago, I guess, is generally a noisy country, in the sense of you can walk down any street in Trinidad and Tobago, whether it be in San Fernando, whether it be in Port of Spain, whether it be in Princestown, and there is music blaring from people selling music from carts, or people blaring music for you to come inside of their establishment. And you see it all the time in terms of foreigners who are visiting Trinidad and Tobago and vlogging on YouTube and stuff like that. And they go in the street and they will say, they're not saying it as a negative, they're just saying, oh, there's a lot of noise and, a lot of music you hear blaring and stuff like that. So it's a very cultural thing. How are you going to manage? I hear you about Switzerland and the US and Canada, etc. But in a Trinidad and Tobago space, you come from a space of carnival, you come from a historical space where noise and drumming and stuff like that is related to freedom and stuff, depending on what festival is going on. And we have festivals. We have festivals from a cultural perspective, from a religious perspective, and they all have noise. Whether it be taxa drumming, whether it be a steel band festival in the middle of Woodbrook, whatever it is, there is an element of noise that is embedded in our cultural expression. How are you going to balance that with regard to the restrictions that you're arguing for?
Let me add one more. Add one more, Ms. Bachoo, to what Richard
That's no problem.
Churches, because we have heard complaints in some neighborhoods too about churches making loud noises.
Yeah, too much noise.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm going to answer them in two parts, right? And then Mr. Maharaj can also add in his comments. Which we balance it, we must. All right. One of the things that we have noted is that if we peruse the code of ethics, or it's a code that is supposed to be used in the entertainment industry, it's that you have to implement noise mitigation strategies. And they may include things like sound barriers, using a cluster of speakers instead of just these tall speakers, all right? Informing the residences that are nearby, etc. But guess what? Those things are not done. Right. And then, because it's just a code of ethics, this is not legislated. It's just a code of ethics, just ensures that you should abide by these laws. But there's no one measuring or enforcing to see that these laws are actually being carried out at each event. So we have to do a serious sensitization campaign, because each citizen, and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to broad brush it and tell you it like this. We have no problem, and Citizens Against Noise Pollution have come out time and time again and said, we love our culture, we love our country. What we are against is this type of loud noise that is affecting communities. All right. So, for instance, the new rules that would have been amended in the noise pollution actually gives the EMA officers just a 30-minute time limit to measure. Before that, it was 3 hours. Now, while this was seen as an improvement, because now they could have gone to different events to measure it, because they are actually, pretty short on manpower. Okay. After that half an hour, what happens? When the EMA police is not there anymore and measuring continuously, who is measuring that they are staying within their noise variance permit? Because each event has, especially at a big level, must have a noise variance permit. And if our EMA officers have left, they have gone to measure something else, who is measuring to check to make sure they have stayed within that limit? So that's one. So we have to have more sensitization, and that code of ethics sensitizes from the promoters to the sound personnel to the employees who are working there, because we have to recognize that even in business we have a responsibility not only to our communities, but also to the people that we employ. There are many places in Trinidad and Tobago where the employees themselves are not aware, because people, again, are ignorant of the effects of noise pollution on their health, right? You have them working at probably 8 plus or 10 hours plus of very loud music. When you have that on a continuous basis, that is wreaking havoc on your cardiovascular health. And this thing, it's not something, it's an internal, how it affects your body. All right. So we have to be mindful of the effects that noise pollution have. We do not want to shut down any event. Let us categorically state that. We have no interest in doing anything like that. We want to engage with our promoters. We want to engage with business owners, right, who want to use, especially loud music in their establishments. We want to engage with them and have them understand that they also have a responsibility to play their music in a responsible manner. All right. With regard to the second question, with regard to religious institutions and places, that has also come up. Right now, this is the thing. Our noise pollution control rules are archaic. There's no other word to describe it. It's very archaic. If we go through it, there are no ordinances or laws that address, for instance, things like in a detailed manner. All right, animal noises, things like from livestock, and that's a serious problem as well. A lot of people complain about things like because of the proximity of homes, right? And that's a planning issue. That's why Mr. Maharaj said we have a lot of ministries we have to go out there and meet, because this is an interwoven thing. It affects health, it affects education of children, it affects the elderly, it affects in terms of a national security concern. All right, so we now have to be able to expand our noise ordinances to include, because they are outdated. There's nowhere, for instance, you will not get if someone had to call the TTPS to say, listen, the church has a loudspeaker or any other religious domination. I'm just using that in a loose way. Religious domination has a loudspeaker out there, and they have been blaring their sermons or their music or whatever it is for a particular period of time. You will find it very hard to get a response from the TTPS, because it does not fall under anything at this point in time.
Yeah.
Now, also, guys, please be reminded, right, that the EMA also have guidelines. So for the noise decibel level, before 8 is at 85, and after 8 is at 65 decibel levels. So I mean. Yes, PM, right? And in the spirit of compromise, that is where the quiet time laws will come in, or the quiet time. So we're saying you can't go till 2, 3 in the morning blasting this music. How about we do some kind of spirit of compromise, where we say, okay, at 10 o'clock you lower it down, at 12 o'clock you lower it down, and keep within the prescribed limits from the EMA. So we are willing to compromise both with the bar owners and those that making noise, but you can't keep going till 2, 3 in the morning blasting music. Remember, people need to sleep, people need to go to work, and that affects the mental health of a lot of people.
And sometimes these bars are 2, 3 people in it, and the music is loud. I've seen and heard that.
Yeah,
that's exactly true.
Yeah. Are you all willing to take calls from our listeners? Because I know I know that. Yeah. Just as an aside, because to follow up on Richard's question too, in terms of carnival, how do you all treat with carnival? Because I would have had my experiences in the city of Port of Spain, especially Woodbrook, in terms of the bars, and of course it goes with traffic, and it goes with people parking up in front gateways, all manner of things that the Woodbrook residents would have had to toil with over the years. Do you all, is the Woodbrook group part of your organization?
Actually, the Woodbrook, we have been trying to actually collaborate them for a little while. And this year, probably the beginning of the year, around January or so, we actually met with a couple of members of the Woodbrook Residents Association, lovely members. And they are really in a difficult situation because, again, planning. And of course, communities change over the years. So their community, which they would have grown up in and invested in and want to remain in, because people need to understand the attachment that one has to their home and their community. And this is something that is being fragmented. We have had members who have had to leave their generational home. I have documented testimonials from members over the years. I'm talking about they would have invested, built their home, or inherited their home where they were living in extended families, right? From their parents or whoever. And they have had to leave. They have had to leave their home and go somewhere else to rent or to build. I have testimonials from people like that. All right. And with regard to the Woodbrook Association, they as well, they have this type of problem. And it's again going back into, we need to be able to come to a compromise, as Mr. Maharaj would have said, on how do we go across this thing, because Carnival, there's the perception that people think that, okay, Carnival is just 2 days. You all could make with that. But guess what? Carnival related events, and I'm talking about things like fetes and any type of event, is now starting before the January. Let's say Carnival is traditionally in around February or March. Our events are starting from July, August. It's actually becoming now year round. You have now events starting, the launching of bands and all of these things from before, right? And sometimes they are not even related to Carnival. People just hold an event, right? And this is starting from July, August, even from before that, Easter, all of these things. So it's not anymore just a 2-day event where people can say, well, all right, we will be able to survive, all right? It's more than that now. This is now where you are being sometimes bombarded and you're being killed silently in your home. It's torture. It's only victims of noise pollution know what it is like to come home in the night. All you want is to lie down in your bed and sleep, because you may have to go to work the next day. You have children to see about. You have your parents to look at, right? Or you are ill. And being bombarded from, let us say, 5 p.m. to 3 a.m. in the morning, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, January, February, March, going straight down to December. And when we add up the man hours like that and the months like that, then you can understand why we consider this as torture and public health crisis.
Yeah.
Can you just hold right 1 minute? We have a caller online. Caller, good morning. Thank you very much for holding.
Sure. Good morning, lady and gent. I appreciate everything that you are saying about the noise pollution and its enforcement. But I'm thinking, based on what the Prime Minister would have said when he went up to the campaign, right? She is talking about making it better for people in communities. But I'm saying that, for me, it seems that everybody who has to do with law enforcement are operating in silos. So I'm saying it should take place with not just the EMA, but the licensing authority for bars and the copyright organization at TNT. And I'm saying that, for example, I'll give you an example. We see events outside, according to where it is in relation to a hospital or wherever, that I talk about in foreign spaces, where the party goers will be wearing these headsets and they can listen to the music via Bluetooth. I'm saying that we should be innovative enough that if you have an event and close to home residences, that when we go for licensing, part of people enjoying themselves is that we can have that enforced. And listen, and the EMA court and the licensing authority, which is the court of listen, you can have your event, but we recommend that you have your event in this way. And a part of the cost for the patrons will be having to be given these devices to enjoy the party. How about that? And in terms of the police side of it, the law currently caters for something called carrying on a disorderly house. But it has not been updated where the police go and talk to a homeowner or a car owner who is blasting music. The police should have the power to seize that noise-making equipment and have the person go before a magistrate to justify not losing their item that is causing the noise pollution. So I think in terms of innovation, there is one way we could attack the thing to save society and to save people enjoyment of the property, which is the basic right under 4, 5, and 6 of the Constitution. Thanks for the opportunity.
That suggestion that he's making there, I actually experienced it at Sandals in Grenada at the nightclub, where they give you the headphones and you choose what you listen to. You can listen to it as loud as you want. There's no sound in the hall, but everybody dancing and carrying on. I don't know that will ever catch on here.
I think that's a very expensive thing, as they will say. But concerning the seizing of the equipment, what the TTPS is saying is that they effectively have to get a search warrant to actually enter the people compound in order to seize the equipment on them. And that's a process in itself.
Yeah.
Right. We have another caller there coming in from London. Good morning to you, Linda.
Hi, sir. Thanks for taking my call. So I would like to address my comments directly to your male guest. I can't remember the name. Sorry, sir.
No
Anyway,
problem. Very
what
much.
I would like to say is freedom comes with responsibility, right? So while the cultural people and the carnival people and everybody want to have a good time, they need to do it responsibly. Where I disagree with you is when you said we need to compromise with the EMA. I don't think we need to compromise. I think the EMA rules need to be enforced strictly. My family home is 2 doors away from Arapita Avenue. It has been in our family for 6 generations. It's a beautiful home with a beautiful garden. It's convenient. You can walk to work downtown. You can walk to the savannah. You can walk to church. You can walk to a health center. Woodbrook was the perfectly planned community. That home has been left to us 6 generations back. We can't live in it because of the nasty noise and mess on the avenue, although it is so beautiful. And I think the EMA needs to stop ducking from their responsibility and force the law. You cannot run people out of their homes because you are too lazy to pick up the phone at night. And I also want to say to the non-profit organizations in the periphery of Woodbrook, like the Oval and St. Mary's College grounds, Fatima College grounds. If you're having a party once a year for your own personal benefit of your club, and it is your members or your old boys or whoever's attending the party, that's fine. But when you go renting out your premises to third parties for them to have a fete and make noise to affect other people, I think you've crossed the line. And I do sincerely hope that the Inland Revenue is collecting income tax from those non-profit organizations when they allow their facilities to be used by third parties, because now you are in breach of that mutual society exemption from tax. So you see, all of the authorities are just being lazy, not doing what they have to do, and the whole country can be degenerate in the name of culture. All over the world there's culture, but all over the world you don't have a problem with noise pollution. And the thing is, it cannot only be protected from at night. So say, for example, somebody's having a party, like where I used to live, it is on the, in St. Anne's at one time. They're having a party, the party starts at 6, but the speakers and everything are set up from 12 o'clock, blasting in your head. I am telling you, one day somebody will lose it and get a gun and just go and start spraying bullets, you know. Do you know what it is to listen to that noise in your head from 12 midday until whatever hour of the morning? In addition to which, people are parking in front of your driveway. You can't go in, you can't go out. You are stuck. And really, we cannot have this kind of degenerate behavior and call this culture. I'm sorry, culture is culture, but that byproduct is undesirable. I don't like us to call that culture. We have a real, authentic, beautiful culture. Let's not let all this nastiness jump in and piggyback on what is good. So
Okay.
please, I am saying to you, don't compromise. Let the EMA enforce the noise rules strictly. And I hope you, well, I know the record coming for your car because they're getting money off of it. But when you call the police say call the EMA. When you call the EMA, nobody answers the phone.
Yeah.
It is just completely frustrating. Let me tell you something. I live in London.
We have to leave it there. Thanks much.
Yeah, we have some other calls, but I understand that frustration you're hearing there because I've had to deal with it as an official in the city for years. That Woodbrook people go through hell sometimes. Some of them miserable, but some of them go through hell.
Just to add to what she's saying, I believe a couple of years ago, Lindy-Ann could verify, actually, someone was actually killed, was shot, I believe, in Woodbrook also for this noise
That's
pollution.
a regular thing, man.
Right? But for noise pollution, right? For noise pollution.
For noise.
And just to reiterate what he said, what he said is that there's no clearly defined line as to what is the responsibilities of the EMA as compared to the police. Because as you say, when we go to the police, they say call the EMA. And when the EMA would say after hours, call the police.
That's right.
And they're saying they have the authority to, the EMA is saying the police have the authority to do that.
Yeah.
So that is the problem. There's no clearly defined line between both of them.
Yeah.
And, I just want to add to this, to what Joey has said here, because, again, the EMA, we would have spoken to the Joint Select Committee in, I think, 2023, all right, when they were looking into the running and the operations of the EMA, I assume to make it more efficient and to see what the shortcomings were. And we were a bit, again, taken back when we look, because the EMA is really, just as the caller said before, they're hiding behind a lot of red tape. They are authoritative bodies in this country that are hiding behind bureaucracy, are not willing to do what needs to be done to secure citizens' rights and their health. And I make no apologies for saying that. Right? So, for instance, in January of 2025, like I say, the EMA has a communication department, but their communication department likes to issue releases. All right? This is not reaching the wider citizenry. We have never seen, and Joey can correct me, if I've made a misstep somewhere. I have never seen a sensitization campaign, for instance, on any of the mass media outlets, right? Stating, listen, this is by law, this is what you are required to do, all right? And stay within the law, anything like that. Or have even somebody like from the TTPS, a cardinal figure stating this is against the law. And this is something that Mr. Maharaj was actually trying to push for years now. We have had meetings with different police, precincts over the country over the years, and try and somehow he has pushed so hard to try to see if he could have gotten a collaboration between our group and the TTPS, for instance, and to use a seminal figure, right, that somebody would recognize and say, well, okay, the TTPS is saying this, and have them release the video. Right. And getting back to the point, they would have released this release of January 2025. And part 2 of their release states the EMA's role is focused on monitoring sound levels, particularly from events with noise variations. All right. And they're saying here that if sound levels exceed the permitted thresholds, enforcement can be taken. However, in cases of immediate disturbances, the TTPS can act directly under the Summary and Offences Act, which allows for fines or imprisonment for noise nuisances. And they have released these types of, press information.
Ms. Bachoo, I can answer that,
Yeah.
Most of these events,
no,
the TTPS are involved, they involve either through extra duty or one way or the other.
They are, but the thing is, right? You are telling me, right? The EMA is telling me, and this is where the caller who just called, she knows because she's a victim. Joey's a victim and I'm a victim. And we know, and everybody else who's a victim of noise pollution knows that is the bureaucracy and the football match that we play every day. So when I call the TTPS for immediate assistance, right, be it from a bar, even though it's commercial noise, because we have to remember the operations of the EMA is until 4 p.m. But most of the after hour days, what we call after hour noise, happens well into past 3 a.m. These are protected hours as if that is when you are in REM sleep. How are you to sleep and get restorative sleep when you are being bombarded by loud music in particular? All right. Yeah. And so you call the TTPS, and the TTPS, and I have some, I want to give you all some documented examples that we have testimonials from citizens of what the police tell them. And the police say, call the EMA. Who's answering the EMA's hotline after 4 p.m.? Who's answering at 3 a.m.? So they are now shirking their duty and telling you that that is a problem for the EMA because it's a noise-related problem, even though there are pieces of legislation, for instance, which the Summary and Offences Act, all right? And the Police Act, I think, as well, looks at noise disturbances. So this is where we find ourselves with. So imagine you, that caller there, right? You have maybe a child or you are elder, you are sick, and you are now being bombarded. And I want to let it also state that many members, right, and many people affected by noise complaints do not call after a half an hour seeking help. It's after hours when they cannot take it anymore. I'm talking about 2, 3, 5. Some people go 5, 6 hours. They can't take it anymore, right? They will call the police. And the police will answer the phone and say, ma'am or sir, that's a matter for the EMA. And I have another rich one. Let the people enjoy themselves. Excuse me?
You know, I'm listening to the conversation, and it's how do we strike a balance in between all of these things that are taking place? Because I mean, like over time, speakers are getting smaller, but they are getting louder. Promoters will say it's business activity, and they're creating employment. People at home having more problems because the parties are not just 10 in the night till 4 in the morning. Now you have breakfast parties starting at 6 in the morning, 4 in the morning. Where is this balance supposed to be struck? And realistically, can a balance really be struck?
Well, I know part of the discussion has been the issue of noise mitigation. And so it seems to me as if there's a business opportunity for somebody out there with regard to noise mitigation, and eventually how you get your license will be connected to whatever noise mitigation certification you have from whatever businesses that eventually arise in terms of facilitating noise mitigation to whatever event. I think that's where it's eventually going to go, because I'm sure there's technology, or you can get more and more innovative in terms of how you deal with noise mitigation. I understand the things about the Bluetooth speakers, but I'm not so sure, as Wendell say, how that's going to work here. I know that's been tried here at some events, but in major events, I don't know. I think it has to be some innovative sound barriers or some way to strike the balance between the people who are attempting to enjoy themselves and the people who are affected by the noise.
Yes, very much so. And I mean, when we think about it, and again, we recognize, right? We know Trinidad is a mecca, right? It's a rich cultural place. But we have to remember that as in every other citizen in another country, we have our responsibility. And many people are shirking their responsibility. And something as simple, if you are, and I will tell you, the top 3 complaints we have with regard to sources of noise pollution, noise being emitted from bars, all right, that use loudspeakers, and audio from cars. People will just, and this is the thing, people have things masquerading around as culture, right? So we have people pretending to be the village DJ. They will pull up at a bar, or they will pull up in the roadway. I'm talking about the public roadway in the middle of communities and homes, and have these big speaker boxes outside of their trunk and inside of the car till they don't even have a space inside of the vehicle. And they're playing their music, right? For hours. Okay? So we have from commercial establishments, we have from vehicles, and we also have as well when we have events that are taking place in communities across the country. Those are the top three things.
Yeah.
All right?
I think we have about like a minute left, and I was wondering where fireworks fit into all of this, and if you all either do you deal with fireworks? I know there's a fireworks anti-fireworks association, but is it part of what you do too?
Well, actually, the firewood is actually a group that sees about the fireworks issue. But we have lent collaborative support in always supporting them in their efforts, because we recognize that was one of the instances of people complaining, because that falls under noise pollution. Although some people might think it's seasonal, it still has a very huge health effect at especially prominent times in the year. All right. And we always lend support to them, but it is an issue that has been taken up before by another NGO.
All right. Well, I mean, that's what we're going to have to leave it this morning. I want to thank both you, Mrs. Bachoo, and Mr. Maharaj, for joining us this morning on the Breakfast Show. Interesting conversation. And of course, there are lots of comments in the comment section that Brenda usually monitors concerning the issue.
I have to remove
So that means, Mr. Raghubar Singh, you will have to invite us back again.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Absolutely. But thank you so much. We appreciate the conversation. And of course, we'll keep it on the front burner as best as we can in terms of how do we strike a balance so that everybody enjoys the space that is called Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes. Thank you so much for having us on. We wish the Breakfast family all the best, and to your audience, have a wonderful day, and we hope to hear from you all again.
All right.
All right. Thank you guys for having us.
Thanks, Mr. Maharaj, and thanks, Ms. Bachoo. All right. Of course, that was our guest talking noise pollution. We go straight into 8 o'clock news, and then when we come back, we say our good. We might be able to squeeze in a couple calls, and we certainly say our goodbyes. The chat hot.
Hi.
The news you need, the clarity you deserve. Local, regional, global. This is Net Radio News Now.
This is your news update for Wednesday, June 11th, 2025. I am Amanda Mitchell with New Era TT Radio and M&E TV. Works and Infrastructure Minister Jalen John has declared illegal dumping in watercourses a national emergency, warning that the practice is fueling widespread flooding. During a tour of outfall drains in Couva North, Minister John highlighted the urgent need for maintenance ahead of the rainy season. She said items like drums, stoves, wardrobes, and plastic bottles have clogged drains, worsening flood risks across the country. John said the ministry is working with the Couva Tabakith Talparo Regional Corporation to clear neglected water channels, many of which once served Caroni's sugarcane fields. She emphasized the devastating human cost of flooding, saying uninsured families often lose everything. Despite offers from private contractors, only government agencies are currently involved in flood mitigation. Former Attorney General Reginald Armour is being urged to publicly apologize for what are being described as malicious accusations in the $20 million Vindra Naipal Kulman malicious prosecution case. The call came from former Attorney General Anand Ramlagan, following the Court of Appeal's decision to reinstate the multi-million-dollar award to 9 men wrongfully imprisoned for 10 years before being freed in 2016. Each man is set to receive $2.1 million. Ramlagan condemned Armour's claims of a missing court file, which he said were disproven in court and intended to deflect from the state's mishandling of the case. He labelled Armour's comments as scurrilous and disingenuous. The appeal court also criticised the former AG's office for failing to act promptly and found that the state had proper notice of hearings but failed to appear. A brutal cutlass attack in Cunupia on Monday afternoon has left 3 family members injured in what police say is a domestic violence-related incident. Around 3:30 p.m., a 26-year-old man was visiting his mother and sister at a home along William Trace Welcome Road when the mother's estranged husband arrived armed with a cutlass, despite a protection order. The suspect chopped the young man several times, severing his right thumb and inflicting deep wounds to his palm, forearm, and face. Both women were also attacked. The 55-year-old mother received a head injury and bruises, while her daughter suffered cuts to both legs. The suspect fled in a silver Mitsubishi Lancer, but allegedly returned minutes later with two other men, issuing death threats before fleeing again. All three victims were taken to the Chaguanas Health Facility, with the male victim later transferred to the Eric Williams Medical Sciences Complex. The suspect remains at large. You are listening to news on New Era TT Radio. In regional news, trade and economic ministers from the 15-member CARICOM bloc have begun a 2-day high-level meeting in Guyana, tackling growing trade challenges in an increasingly volatile global environment. CARICOM Secretary General Dr. Carla Barnett told the 60th Council of Trade and Economic Development meeting that recent tariff shocks, especially from the U.S., highlight the urgent need for the Caribbean to diversify its trade partnerships. Dr. Barnett referenced tariffs of up to 38% on some Caribbean exports, particularly impacting Guyana, and urged members to accelerate talks with Colombia, the U.S., and El Salvador, while also boosting intra-regional trade. She called for the removal of trade barriers and emphasized the need for a revised common external tariff and updated rules of origin. The meeting continues today with a focus on finalizing the regional industrial policy to drive growth and integration. In international news, climate activist Greta Thunberg has been deported from Israel a day after the Israeli Navy intercepted the Gaza-bound aid ship she was aboard. Speaking in Paris yesterday, Thunberg called for the release of fellow activists still detained, saying their treatment pales in comparison to what Palestinians are enduring in Gaza. The ship, Madeleine, was seized in international waters, sparking accusations from rights groups of a breach of international law. Israel dismissed the voyage as a publicity stunt, calling it a selfie yacht with minimal aid. 12 people were on board, including a journalist and French MEP Rima Hassan. While Thunberg and 3 others were deported, 8 remained detained at Israel's Givon prison. Thunberg said the mission was to deliver aid and protest Israel's blockade of Gaza. That concludes your news update for today. I'm Amanda Mitchell for New Era TT Radio and M&E TV. The Breakfast Show with Wendell, Richard, and Sir Charles continues right after this short break.
That was news now. Stay informed with New Era TT Radio, Net Radio.
Advertise with us on New Era TT Radio, the fastest growing streaming platform for talk in Trinidad and Tobago. Audio and video ads welcome. Elevate your brand with us. Connect with us at newerattradio@yahoo.com or call us at 299-5156. Now what are you waiting for?
S&H Rumbox, 137 Western Main Road, St. James, for all your retail and wholesale needs for alcohol and non-alcoholic beverages. Call us at 686-0599 or visit us at 137 Western Main Road, St. James. S&H Rumbox, drinking out of the box. Last call, Cipriani College, last call. RSRR Productions, Married and Mischievous is on its last call at Cipriani College. The #1 comedy that has everybody talking and laughing comes to Cipriani College for a final 2 nights. Saturday the 14th of June at 8:30 p.m. and on Father's Day, Sunday the 15th of June at 6:30 p.m. Treat your dad to this comedy. Married and Mischievous at Cipriani College. Tickets available at usual outlets and at the Cipriani College box office from Monday 9th June. Don't miss this one. Adults only. Of course, tickets are available at the Cipriani College box office from 12 noon to 6 p.m. daily. And at our usual outlets, tickets are already out. They're already selling since last week. Of course, tickets are available at K Squared Fashions in East Gates, West Mall, and Brentwood Mall in Chagonas, Chabini Rawi in Tunapuna, Sharpley Auto Services, Electronics in Arima, and of course in Val Park you can get tickets at Antoni's Florals at the Val Park Shopping Plaza, and of course, as I said before, at the Cipriani College box office, 12 noon to 6 p.m. daily. Get your tickets early. It's Father's Day weekend. We expect, the word of mouth in this show has been fantastic. You just have to go to social media and look at any of our posts and see people who have attended the show in Sapa, previously at Cipriani College, people at Queen's Sword. You see all manner of comments of people who have seen this show.
And you ever had with a little old grumpy man with a stick with a jacket, crawl chop, so talking? He looks just like you, though.
Yeah, no, that is somebody called Ralphie.
Ralphie, but you look just like you, though.
Uncle.
I don't know how it come natural to Ralphie, and that as a grumpy old man, eh?
Yeah, it's an older uncle.
In the family then.
Anyway, I got a complaint from someone who lives close by Long Circular Road about the police mess. They say, "Oh gosh, it's noise." I say, "Well, who you?" She wanted to know who to complain to. I say, "Well, the police." But it's by the police mess. You know the one on Long Circular Road?
Long Circular Road, yes. I know it.
Making a lot of noise. They have some big feds there, you know.
Yeah, that's the one close to the traffic lights.
Yes, right by the traffic light there. That right there.
Yeah.
You know it? You ever went to fed?
No.
I died there, and I never moved.
No.
Yes, I just have a complaint I want to address, because it must not, what is happening on the chat must not affect personally our people, especially our dear fans, okay? So please, you all need to avoid the personal attacks and insults. Whoever goes by the name Child of God, but what was the other one they went by to? Whoever, you have had so many names on this chat. You understand? You finally put lowercase letters though. But sometimes you go overboard with your comments and your insults, especially to women. Please don't do it on our chat. Do not spoil our show. Okay? You can make your comments. You can make your comments supporting a political party, no problem. But when it descends into personal insults, we draw the line. We will have to draw the line. Okay? I'll appreciate that very much. Because if the person didn't complain and they complain on the chat, I probably would have said nothing. But you need to take it down a bit. Right, Ram Naresh? Take it down. Ram Naresh, Champion of God, all the names you went by so far. Right?
Yep.
Take it down.
Okay, but you are comment section monitor, so you like the majority like the EMA first, but he wouldn't be the EMA. He wouldn't be environmental. He's more what do you call that? Comment ethics.
Miss Henry, we could avoid those kind of terms too, right? Take it down now. Let's take it down. Come now, man. We're so good. This program is such a popular program. I don't know if you all know we got viral all over the world, you know. All over the world, you know. So people all over the world right now listening to us. Right?
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, I did, DL. I did do that, yes.
I want a Swiss pen pal. I want to spend some time in Switzerland.
Anybody from Switzerland out there? I don't mind. I actually want to visit Switzerland.
Yeah. I want to go and spend like a month.
Yeah. I think, God willing, I'll be doing Japan before the end of the year. You know?
Okay.
Yeah. Well, don't let them provoke him, as Henry. You don't have to respond to everything. Ram Naresh, I will deal with Ram Naresh. Trust me.
This is where we wrap up the morning show, the breakfast show this morning as we get towards 8:15. Have a fantastic day. Whatever you do, remember to smile and laugh. It's great for health. Support theater. Okay, theater's on this weekend at Cipriani College. Do not miss Married and Mischievous. Trust me, if you have never seen a play in your life, Married and Mischievous is a fantastic first play to see. There are quite a few people who have seen it for the first time they've ever come to theater, and they were blown away. They said they have never expected that theater was like this. They had, whatever misconceptions they had, they just never thought that they would have had so much fun and had such a wonderful evening out. Do not miss Married and Mischievous. Saturday 8:30, Sunday 6:30 this weekend. It's a wonderful Father's Day gift. Your father will love you and you'll be the favorite child of them all after he comes to this play. Trust me. So don't miss it.
You know, they talk about plays and theater, Richard, and when we have time tomorrow, I'll probably explain it to you guys. But there's something about it that I only discovered when I started to actually go and actually see the plays and stuff. But I'll tell you.
Charles, you haven't seen this players yet?
No, I haven't gone to see it yet.
You're all over this play, so you need to go.
Corey, tell me. Corey said he had to come back.
Corey's not in this play at all. Corey's not in this play. Corey is too deep. This play is for adults. Corey not in this play.
All right, so keep on the stream, people. We're signing off now on the Breakfast Show, but New Era TT Radio continues for the entire day. So go on to the stream, the New Era TT Radio stream on TuneIn, and of course, you can do it via the internet, New Era TT Radio, and of course, you can we'll look out, subscribe, like and subscribe, even if you're watching us on M&E TV. Like and subscribe. Please go to our YouTube channel. Take time out, go to YouTube channel, like and subscribe. We're trying to get to 100,000 subscribers. So help make that happen. Of course, we speak to you bright and early tomorrow morning. Have a great day. Whatever you do, remember to smile and laugh. It's great for your health.
All right, folks, have an absolutely wonderful day. Remember, one life, live it.
Yeah.
And you could start by coming down my room box today. If you've never met me before, today is a good day to come.
All right. So this has been The Breakfast Show.
All right.
Yeah. Wake up, it's a brand new dawn. The Breakfast Show got the vibes turned on. From Maracas Bay to the Savannah. Let's start the day in Caribbean prime. Oh, good vibes rolling through the air. The Breakfast Show.